This artwork has been supplied to me free of charge from Fanhome.com. Please pop along to their website and see all of the other build-up artworks that they have to offer, as well as other collections of collectible things. I would like to thank Fanhome for providing me with the artwork so I can produce these videos for your enjoyment and educational needs. If you'd like to build one of your own, pop along to fanhome.com. They're available in many countries worldwide. If you do want to build one, leave a note in the comments to let me know how you're getting on. So thank you once more to Fanhome for providing me with this kit. I hope you enjoy the build. Hello, I'm Chris, this is Gross Models, and welcome to issue 15 of Building Kitt from Knight Rider. This build is coming along now. This is, 15 is quite a big number, but not as big as it's going to get. But first of all, as ever, before we do the build, we're going to have a look through the magazine and see what's what. Trust doesn't rust. I haven't seen this one yet. I've seen it, but I saw it in wherever it was, I don't know. It says where it's broadcast in US, Spain, and France. I don't know about the UK. Probably very similar to the US release, I would have thought, in the early 80s. This is, the debut of Car, Kitt's nemesis. So, I'm looking forward to watching that. That will be quite interesting. Car is the same as Kitt, but an early prototype, and it's got a grey half bottom, so it looks like it's been dipped in silver paint. So, yeah, there we go. We got the watch, which apparently is part of this build. The watch is what controls Kitt's functions in this build and in the real world. The real world of the TV series. You know what I mean. So, that's quite interesting. Dedicated to introducing Car to the audience. So, yeah, that'll be quite interesting to watch. I shall do that very, very shortly. But the build we'll be doing in a moment. It's the other wheel arch we're putting. The front right wheel arch, we're putting the electronic control unit and then putting it on the chassis. So lots of things to do on that, bringing in the entire build so far as well. The Knight automated roving robot, not the 2000 technology thing, but yeah. Kitt's voice modulator was modified from episode 14 of the first season to give it a more attractive appearance with a 3-bar that we all know and love. Car's one is slightly different. There we go. And the highlights, the secret files, it's all about Car, and it's cool. You get to see Kitt twice. What more can you want? So I'll clear the bench, I'll get the parts ready, and we'll start this week's build. Okay, the parts that we've received this time, some of them look very familiar from the other side. This is obviously the wheel arch that we did last time. We're going to be doing some more with that. We're using some GM screws to begin with. Get a few of those out, 3 of those at the moment. Probably use another one in a minute. We're going to be attaching the bracket thing to the top. It only goes on one way round. You can tell which way round it goes because of the shape of the things. Is that goes on that way round, like that. There, the screws going from the top. So let's get those in and in place. As ever, putting in more than one screw, it's always a good idea to get them all located before you tighten the first one up, just to make sure they pretty much fall into place on these, into little indentations. But it's always best to make sure, get into the good habits, and then they won't feel like they're a pain when you need them. They'll just happen. So that goes in there, and I'll get these tightened down, making sure these are secure, because obviously the suspension unit is going to fit into this, so you do need to make sure things are tight, because you might not be going back to this. You might not be able to get back to this after a little while. Right, next up, we're going to be using an screw, which there are 2 in a packet, so one of them will be spare for later. Go, and we're going to be attaching this into there. It's got a slot that goes into the, or a notch that goes into the slot in there, and the screw we'll hold it in place from the other side. This is the interior of the piston that we're going to be fitting. That's on the rest of the chassis when we fit this into there. That will go in there. It's got some movement to it, even though it's tightened down, because it needs a little bit of wobble room, but that's all good. That's that. Now we're going to be fitting these two parts with a CP screw, of which, again, there are two. So one we will be using now, and one we will be keeping for later on, or for never using, as these things often are. So we've got the entire electronic control unit, which will be going, get it the right way around, over there. But first of all, we've got this shaped piece. Covers over the bottom half of that. That way around. All in there like that. And the single screw goes up through the metal plate, through the first bit, and holds in place in the top unit. Like that. Does the job. It fits in there. It works. So a little bit more to do before we need to bring in the rest of it. We've got, where are we? Here we go. We've got two little plastic plugs on here. Those attachment points, one that's curved, one that's straight. We're going to be fitting the tube to the curved one. It's curved the same on both sides by the looks of it, so we'll just get that on one side. Being careful not to bend or break it. It doesn't feel like that's going on there, so I shall use my old trick of just stretching out the end of the tube. I use my tiny tweezers for that. They work just right. They're just the right size. Get in there and stretch it without causing any other problems. So far, it might well happen that at some point that it will cause problems, but at the moment it hasn't. So that's going on there. This is going into the top of these two holes. And so that has to go in on that side. Actually, it does matter which side. I've got it wrong the first time. This is actually a semicircular, because there's a semicircular notch for it to go into. So it only goes in the one way round. Let me just double check by looking closer to make sure I have got that right way round. I have slightly damaged the end of that though, so I might need to leave that down a touch to get that in. I might not. No, I think I've got away with it. There we go. But it's worth paying attention first to make sure. This one is, again, one end's got a rounded end to it, which is where you're going to end up putting tubes. So you want to put the square, the not quite so finished end, into the hole on there. Like that. Right. Now we need to bring in the rest of it. So let me move bits off to one side where I can still get it, but it's not in the way. And bring in the body so far with one wheel attached. This is obviously going over that side. We've got other tubes and things attached from before. This is the other half of the piston. So that will be going into there. It does mention it. I was going to say it doesn't mention it, but I'm sure there's going to be a spring happening in there. Indeed, it is. It's pictured just there. Now that goes around there, and then the end of that goes onto there. Hopefully everything all lines up. This is going to go on the outside of that, just as it's sort of fallen into place there conveniently. I quite like it. I like it when a plane comes together. So that is going in there. It says retrieve the chassis, place the spring. Note that the hole in the side of the wheel arch fits into a small post on the right of the chassis. Not sure. There's a post on this piece. That's what it's talking about. It's talking about something in there. Oh, right. Yes, there's a hole. This hole on here is a post there. So that's got to locate the right point on there. That's that. We are using a couple of EM screws at the back here to hold that in place. Pull those out. One down the bottom there, like that. And one on this hole here, because obviously the other one isn't actually a hole. Well, it is a hole, but it's a hole for a post rather than a hole for a screw. One in there. I'm not going to tighten that up yet because we need to turn it over. Place an EM screw in the front joint of the wheel arch. Let's get another EM screw out then. I'll get both of them out. No, I'll put one back because one's going to be spare. I haven't tightened these up yet because I need to make sure everything lines up properly first. This is going to be going in right at the end here. Yep. Make sure everything lines up. Tightening down, so put that in there. A GM screw will go in from the side here into this wheel arch through that hole there. And then basically I need to tighten all these up. And up through there. Yep, that's going into a hole, so that's okay. So everything is lining up okay. I'll get those tightened up momentarily. But first of all, there's one more thing to do. The cover, just like that side, goes on there. It doesn't matter which way around because it's just round. It's the big rubber bit that sits on there. So I'll get these tightened up, and that will be the end of this week's build. So hopefully you're enjoying the build. I know I like it when it starts to come together. I like it even more when we start getting, you know, the chassis on, but I think that's a little while away yet. So thank you for watching. Stay safe. I shall see you very soon. Bye bye for now.